Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. Today we're looking at Among Cultists. It's unboxing, teaser, trailer, preview, video. Game designed by Stefan Godot. This is being published by Godot Games, a 4 to 8 player social deduction game. It's a full-scale board game in the ilk of Blood on the Clocktower, which I played just before its release. If you want to check out the various expansions, I've got a small one here. I've got a large expansion called Down into the Abyss, and I've also got Mountains of Chaos. So it's a heck of an amount of content going on here. So this is a game whereby you're either playing as the investigator or you're choosing to play as the cultists. You won't know in advance, and you're either going to be playing as a cultist to kill off the various investigators, or you're trying to get books to try and win as the investigators. This is a game that might take about 45 minutes to 90 minutes. It's a social deduction game, which basically means you're trying to use social clues to figure out who everybody is. And in this particular game, being a board game, this is a first player marker, by the way. If you want to see myself being held at knife point around the neck by the designer, check out my Instagram feed. That's via the description YouTube, so head through to that via the description, where you can also head and find the podcast where you'll hear me talk about this. You'll also find out my haul video. Just Google haul Essen AmassGames and you're going to find me talking about this game there as well. So this game came out 2023. As you see, there's lots of expansions for it. There is a certain amount of setup required depending on who is playing, because depending on the player count, that is going to impact how you are setting up, because you need to know how many of certain types of cards bring out. So you have got cards like this. You can be playing as obviously a living character, or you might be a ghost. So that can happen in the game. You might even be dead as you start off. Now, briefly, we'll tell you about another game, a small game, a social deduction game that I recommend. And it's been popular on the channel. It's called Scape. This is the second edition, or I think it's actually the third edition. But it's got second edition written on there because of how the English language has been put out. And that's by GDM Games. It is a game set in the Second World War, and you have the RAF, you have the United States Air Force as well, and you have the Gestapo, and what you're looking to do is trying to escape, hence the Great Escape. And in this particular game, it seems like we've got these spare black elements here, which is interesting how many there are. So I'm wondering whether or not we've got 4 spare, which is fair enough. But as with other games, I find you generally want to keep these punchings just in case. So this game weighs 3,036 grams. If you have any questions, do let me know at the comments best in YouTube, because this does get shared. Please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to see my review on this when I get a chance to play at various player counts. I'm playing it this weekend with a social deduction group who are going to be playing Blood on the Clocktower all day long on the Saturday. So we're playing this on Friday. Today is Wednesday. I'll also be playing it on Saturday as well in the evening as a 4. This is recommended at a player count of 5 to 7. As you can see, of various tokens as well, tokens which can be moved to track and see where you're going. Quite a lot of stuff in here. We've got envelopes as well. That's going to be deciding roles, deciding who's going where, and the cultists are able to know information about the inspectors. At a higher player count, you're also going to have investigators. You're going to have a seer who's actually able to know who the cultists are. A bit like the game Avalon. Check out my quest video as well as the resistance videos. I have been communicating with the coup designer. However, it just so turned out that he was unavailable when we were due to meet, I think due to his limited schedule over in Essen 2023. So this is going to go in various playlists. I think this might even go in the escape room playlist because of the kind of nature. It might not be puzzly, but you are obviously having to figure stuff out, and lots of communication, which of course makes it very sociable, hence a social deduction game. There are other videos coming to the channel as well, more social deduction games, so make sure you check out that too. But you can also check out my Essen playlist as well, whereby you'll find a bit more information about this. So, of course, we do need to figure out if there's a better balance between the cultists and the investigators. From what I'm hearing, it's pretty balanced. People haven't ultimately said one thing over another. The more you play it is going to make a difference too. I can obviously sleeve these cards. Check out my sleeving playlist. You may have seen those stickers. Well, they're going to go on these black discs as well. And we've got a little bag here as well, which is very nicely embossed and printed and etched on. And it looks like we've even got some baggies too. And what else is there last thing to show you? Well, that's going to go for our disc. These are very fancy cards. And yes, here we are basically showing you if you are alive, you have a pulse, you are okay. And here we are, I've got these envelopes here which currently I would assume would be empty. Yes, they are very fancy. I think I'll briefly open one set of cards and then leave you to it. But again, I look forward to speaking to you again. Obviously, once this is all set up, this is going to be quite a big setup. So I think in terms of actually getting something out, I might actually have to have this at an angle. It might have to be pre-set up as well, just to show you how it goes, because I think that might be a little bit too long and to keep your attention. Always, of course, you can rewatch it. You can head back and, you know, speed things up. Here we go. These look like they're all the same, and they're representing, obviously, if you are alive. And I'm guessing this is pretty much, of course, the inverse. In fact, this shrink has already come off for some reason. I'm not sure why and how that's happened. Maybe this was printed in China, and I know that humidity is why they need to make sure it gets down to European, typically, levels. And you can see that person is dead, hence the lacking of life symbol. Also check out my various Arkham books that I've got novels for, because there was some sacrificial goats happening from the cultists, and that was occurring in this novella I'm reading at the minute, as well as some other things that I was checking out on as well. So this is based on Among Us. This is based on the famous video game. So everything has been punched now. I'm just going to start sorting it out. Thanks very much. Very fancy looking artwork. This has been Among Cultists. And like I said, back to that fun artwork for now. Back to the table.